Welcome back to the Win with Dice podcast, a podcast featuring members of the Win with Dice team, and this week, a special guest. Joining me today is Ramon.
Hey, guys. And
also our guest for this week, Shaka.
I'm going to say it just like Ramon. Hey, guys. Ramon says, hey, guys, the same way every single time.
It's just the way I talk, man. Don't bully me.
I'm not knocking it, man. Yeah, I'm admiring your consistency.
Oh, man. I think it's just a character voice. It's just like, oh, yes, the podcast. Hello.
Here's my podcast voice.
Yeah, well, we got to have a consistent intro so people know what show they're listening to.
Totally,
right,
you're
folks,
right. You're right.
Folks, this is the Win with Dice podcast. The podcast all about tabletop RPGs, running them, playing them. Calvin and I played a bunch of games. Our guests played a bunch of games. And we are just having a casual conversation about them so you can learn something and maybe you can feel comfortable jumping onto the other side of the GM screen. And that's basically what the show is.
Yeah, we definitely like to take, like Ramon said, a casual approach to talking about tabletop RPGs so people, actually give running them a try and give a try to running new and different systems. Maybe Lancer in particular, if you haven't given that one a whirl yet. So up top, I really want to say that we have some pretty big plans that we'll go into detail to maybe later in the episode. But this is essentially the start of Lancer Month Part 2. Onyx Boogaloo or something. I don't know what the subtitle of this would be.
Lancer Month, The Reckoning.
Yeah, The Reckoning. That was pretty good.
The Revenge of the Lancer Month.
Exactly.
So, for the next few weeks, we'll be talking to a whole bunch of people inside the Lancer community, various writers and who have, contributed different things to the community. And if you're into that sort of thing, and the third-party supplements especially, it's going to be really exciting. But before we get into starting that ball rolling, we have to get to the most important part of the show, which is the Win with Dice weekly GM tip of the week.
The Win with Dice weekly GM tip of the week, brought to you by Ramon. Yes, today is all me.
Yes, do it. Do it.
Right, folks, you ever been disappointed before?
Okay, interesting setup.
Yeah. You talk about Tinder or you talk about...
Well, folks, you ever been disappointed by your GM and you just expected, them to read your mind and, put the thing that you want in the session or, get the item that you want in the session and, you didn't get it. Well, they can't actually read your mind, and the tip of the week is to just literally tell your GM what you're looking for. Like an example is like you walk into a town for the first time, and instead of like going around pointing to like, oh yeah, what's this building or what's that or whatever, right? Just literally tell the GM, be like, hey, I'm walking in town, I'm looking for a blacksmith or like an arms dealer or whatever, right? Just you give yourself the ability to be like, just literally ask your GM what you want, as well as with the players too, right? Like sometimes as a GM you don't want to like, I guess, lead the players on, or like maybe you get them, they feel like they're stuck in like a situation, and obviously you want to keep that verisimilitude, like they're impacting your world, but you don't want to like railroad them. But still, sometimes it's good to just break that a little bit and just be like, hey, what are you guys trying to do? Or like, hey, involve me into your plans and I can validate it. Right? I don't want to tell you what to do, but I want to possibly, maybe check your work like to make sure it'll happen. Like,
I subscribe to
the
that.
idea. Yeah, the idea that it's collaborative, right? It's like the GM most times, I can't say for all people, there's some wangerods out there, but like most times the GM is an ally, not an enemy, right? Like, say for players are allies, not enemies, even though you're not the bad guy, you just facilitate the bad guys to do the bad things, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Right. So there you go. That's your tip of the week, folks. Just, say what you want, and, sometimes you'll like, it's up to the GM and the table, but, most times we can work it out. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's easier for the GM to prep something that the players want if they know exactly what the players want. And like sometimes you have to learn that just through playing, but like it's way easier if you just say, hey, my character's probably interested in X thing. just gonna leave that on the table there for you to figure out how to work that in. Or if they have some specific goal, then it's like how let the GM have time to figure out how to get in your way of that goal and what challenges you have to overcome and things like that. It's just communication, basically.
Yeah, it's basic communication. We all learned it in preschool or middle school or high school or college for us late bloomers.
Or work, or whatever.
Yeah, whenever it happens.
Or when you turn 30.
Sometimes it just takes that level. Once you figure it out, you can never unlearn it, right? Like,
exactly. And that's a good tip. 10 stars.
Never forget, you're always growing, folks. Never done.
You can always communicate better.
Yeah.
Well, that is a good tip to start the Lancer Month Part 2, The Reckoning of Lancer Month. So yeah, we got a lot of people that we want to talk to. We'll probably announce them week by week as they come up, just to make it interesting, I guess.
Yeah, anticipation's a tool that GMs use.
Oh, exactly.
There you go.
We can use that for the second tip of the week.
Yeah.
But for this week, we've got our old friend Shaka, who's back for, what is this, the 4th time?
I can't count, so yeah, we'll say 4. We'll say 4. 4 sounds good. Quattro.
Yeah, Shaka Part 4, the double reckoning. So
this time, I'll take the Win with Dice team out for good.
Yes. You almost did in that last one shot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let me run a one shot again for you all, so I can not listen to your tips and then just destroy you.
just bully us into the dust. I see.
That's the only way to avoid doing tips, is if you have to run a game, because we don't do tips during a game.
Exactly.
But this week, what we wanted to do is we want to talk about any updates and stuff that there are that we can discuss since the last time we talked about the Field Guide to Mfecane, the excellent supplement book for Lancer that we recommend basically every episode. Nice. Additionally, we wanted to get into just quickly creating a one-shot, using some plot hooks from the Field Guide to put together a quick game for maybe 4 to 5 players. I will say the B plot of this entire Lancer month is that I'm working on running a one-shot in the future. So this is just me absorbing whatever information I can from the best and brightest in the community.
Nice. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Which is why we had to start with you. So, yeah, let's just get into the book first. Is there anything in particular you want to talk about, update-wise, art-wise, that we can share for people who maybe haven't checked it out yet or are interested in expanding their Lancer games?
Yeah. I think since the last time I was on the show, Dragon Kid came out with a video on the supplement, and I thought that was pretty good. They called out, some vaguities. I don't even know if that's a word. Vagueness. We'll say vagueness. Vagueness
Sure.
in the writing, and how it's a little hard to understand the plot trajectory and stuff. And so, as I was going through the ups, I knew I was going to update it either way because there's this new Lancer template that came out, and Siege had done a lot more art, and I wanted to incorporate all that stuff. And so, in the update, I included this first page running the game text, which just kind of explains what Lancer is for one, and then explains what Afrofuturism is, and then it gives a brief overview of the setting. And I've heard from other people too, like Itch, and then some people I run games with here in Minnesota that was needed to kind of frame people's minds around what's going on and not just jump right into the story. Because I definitely, when I was writing it, I was assuming the only people who will consume this is the people who know about Lancer, and that's what I wrote it for.
Right.
True.
I added that in, and then added in some more art from Siege, and then I added some text updates, added in some one-shot plot hook stuff. I think I added in an example character, and definitely some changes to the mechs and stuff. So it's a pretty robust update, and I honestly don't remember everything that I added. So
that's how it is, right? He was I just put a lot of work into it. It's good now. Just trust me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think the biggest thing is the template change, which, gosh, let me see if I can call out this person. Michael. Ooh, I can't pronounce her last name, but I do believe it's like an Asian, South Asian last name. Prijate. Let me just put it in the chat for you guys. Maybe one of y'all know how to pronounce it, because I definitely can't pronounce it. Progetto? I don't know. That's my go. I'm butchering it so bad. But yeah, they have like a Lancer template on itch, and it is super good. You can just like copy paste, fill in where you need to, and
like character template or
yeah, like a word template, you know, like it makes it look like the Lancer core book.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean, like the design of the book itself. Okay, I see.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, like template design thingy, whatever the right word is. I don't know. I'm not a graphic designer, so.
Yeah, but I mean, like graphic design template, so it looks closer to the Lancer core book. Okay, yeah.
Yes. But yeah, that's the biggest part. That's the biggest part of the update. And I think I went through and did some more grammar stuff, because there's always grammar stuff. But and then I added in something else too for like, I'm jumping all over the place here, but like I think one of the like other noteworthy things is I added in for like the backgrounds of the MP War Order, which is, you know, like the Shaka's armies that are composed of 4 orders: the chest, the horns, left horn, right horn, and the loins. I added in some like example triggers, because people were really unsure like what differentiated each war order, suborder from each other order. And so added that in, and then I think I also added into like the one shot plot hooks or whatever, which orders would typically be deployed on which like like plot hook stuff. So I try to give that a little bit more substance, and trying to help people run games more in the settings. A couple of people have hit me up about running games, and they've always asked questions about, well, why would I deploy like the Uvi over the Unkulashane? Like what's the difference between those two? And the description itself didn't give a lot of insight into that. So just making it easier for people to run games in this setting, I think, for sure.
Yeah. I definitely, it's probably because of just the unfamiliarity with the backgrounds, right? Like even just like what you're pulling from, right? I think that's definitely the case here. I think in like North America land, right? it's like your supplement uses a lot of like nouns that people aren't so used to, and even just seeing like the names are just like, I don't know what that is immediately, right? My English Latin brain can't sieve this out right now, right?
Yeah,
I think it's the same way as like when I read like Mfecane. I can't even pronounce it.
I always, in my head, I mean, it's probably like a mispronunciation, but I always call it Bakwana or something. That's what in my head, that's what I say. It's don't even repeat that, because I'm pretty sure that's not how you pronounce it. But
okay, wait. I think it's Gumbatbanwa, which is, I believe it's kind of set in like a archipelago, fantasy kind of, I don't want to say, I don't remember if it's like Filipino background or history.
I feel like it's Filipino. I feel like it's Filipino.
Don't quote me. It's it's on itch. We'll probably link it down below or something like that. But reading all that stuff and getting kind of into it, there's a lot of nouns and stuff, and a lot of cultural stuff that I just have not experienced, but I want to learn more. So I think that's also why your field guide's so great, because it's just like different perspective, man. Like
totally,
seriously different perspective.
Totally.
Like you're just it's like you're just being dived into like this pool of just like all these different ways of thinking and words and stuff like that. So
yeah. That was my first reaction too when I read that Bakwana. I'll say that. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but like I got into it and I started reading. I think I read the whole thing and I was like, holy crap, is this what it feels like to read like the field guide? Because this is like kind of hard, because you're constantly having to go back and reread and make sure you're getting the good understanding of what some of those like proper nouns and just regular nouns were. And it was because in my first reading of that, I was like, it was kind of hard. And so I went into the update with that in mind and trying to provide a little bit more background and being a little bit more explicit. and a little bit more descriptive, and when I'm first off like mentioning some of the groups and stuff. So
yeah.
Cool.
Calvin?
Yeah, you did mention something that I found like really interesting. Is just the idea of like after you publish the thing, having to take like reviews and questions and things that people ask, and realizing like what maybe could be made clearer, and realizing like the different parts of the audience you might be reaching, because it's not like necessarily just like specifically just Lancer people and things like that. Like it's people who are coming into this for the first time and maybe having an interest in the game, and then an interest in the setting, and then wanting to try to understand the things you're trying to like communicate with it.
Totally, yeah. So I participated in the game with there's this group here in Minnesota that's like in the Twin Cities, and it's called Saturday Night Space Opera, and it's been going on for like 15 or so years, but I just found out about it because of Instagram, because they posted like they had a Lancer night, and I joined in and just made a regular non-Mfecane character, just like core or whatever, and these a bunch of like older dudes and like old TTRPG players, and they didn't really necessarily know how to run Lancer, so it was kind of run more like a Powered by the Apocalypse Lancer, and so the combat was more narrative than it was combat. But I was like helping them along with it and everything, and then they just like, oh, like Trey, you know a lot about this stuff, and then I shared some of the other stuff I'd done with the community and stuff, and they're like, oh shit, you have to run a game for us. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I shared the field guide to them, and the guy who runs the whole thing was like, yo, like this is dope, but I'll be honest, like I don't fucking know what's going on, like this is like really difficult to understand. And he was like, he was this like older white dude, probably like like 40 or something like that, and I think he recognized what I was trying to do and stuff, and he was just like he wasn't like giving me recommendations or anything, but he was just like, this is like pretty hard to understand, like if you provide more information like of what Afrofuturism is, and just starting from a base level. And then I took that to heart, and I was like, yeah, that's some good feedback. And so in the update, I've been adding in some more like background information and stuff. And I'm trying not to. I try not to over-explain things, because I think that's the kind of vibe of the field guide, is to like not to like be very ambiguous in its explanations of certain things, not for ambiguous sake, but for the sake of kind of trying to stay true to like the tradition of oral history and storytelling, because that inherently is a little bit ambiguous, but not to a fault, but to a benefit. And so I'm trying to find that balance between like, all right, this is literally what you need to play the game, but this is what you like. Anything else beyond that point is just like over explanation.
I see. That's pretty cool. I never thought about the idea of trying to translate that to text in a very clear, like, because this is a game, right? And games usually tend to be like, this is exactly what's going on, right? Right. But I totally get it. I see what you're trying to do. And I never thought that your field guide might actually be someone's first introduction to Afrofuturism and that
me either.
kind of setting, right?
me either. I was like, bro, hadn't you seen goddamn Wakanda? What's that movie called? Black Panther? Yeah.
Yeah, it should be like, did you not watch
I know,
Black
like,
Panther?
look, it's that. It's just different.
Yeah,
but no, but in all seriousness, I mean, I think I've heard the opposites from other people too on Paladin who've asked me for clarifications about like what would Shaka do, or like in a certain situation, or actually I'm not gonna. It's just mainly been what was Shaka doing in certain situations. People are just like they said like, oh man, like your thing is great. Like I like the ambiguity. I like how like the oral history kind of first person you're taking on it. Like I don't understand everything, but honestly, I don't think that I'm supposed to understand everything from a first reading. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But yeah, they've always asked me like, what would Shaka do in certain situations? It's literally nothing about nothing else about what would Shaka do.
That should just be. I think honestly, I might just start adding you on Twitter to be like on mundane stuff. Be like, what would Shaka do?
Oh my god!
It's like, it's like, what should I get with my BLT? It's like, what would Shaka do? Like, yeah, I'm decided between like this red paint color and this blue paint color. What would Shaka do?
Yeah, it's definitely.
That'd be so funny.
Definitely a vibe.
And like, honestly, I think that like low key in the setting, that's kind of what would somebody do.
Yeah.
like cause Shaka's so integral to everything, but it's like different levels of Shaka, right? You'd be like, hey Shaka, you'd be like you're cool. like,
oh my god,
Get that trending on the Yami now.
yeah, this powerful demigod like thing is just like, yeah, man. Hey Shaka, what's the weather?
Yeah. Oh my god, I can't even come up with something on the spot. But oh my god, I mean that's literally like the nature of the questions. Like yesterday or 2 days ago, some cat asked me like he's writing a field guide, or they're writing a field guide for I think the pronoun is she's writing a field guide for her own thing or whatever. Yep. And she has like aliens in it and stuff, and she was like aliens have a story about, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but they have a story and it has some trauma in it. And she was like, well, if Mfecane came in contact, what I mean by Mfecane, I really mean Shaka. If Shaka came in contact, what would it do? And I was like, I guess it would do this. Like, I don't fully know because it's like a weird situation, but it's just interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it also doesn't hurt. It doesn't help that your like handle is NHP Shaka. So
yeah, no, I should probably change that.
It's like you are the myth, the legend, man. But I totally get it. I mean, to be fair, my stances with any sort of RPG, background and all that kind of stuff, it's like, take what you want and just kind of leave the rest and like make it up, right? Because like someone's instance of Shaka will never be someone else's instance of Shaka, right?
Totally, yeah.
Like, I guess with if you're actually trying to run like in like run the field guide like as its own thing and trying to keep true to what you're trying to do in the book, right? Mm-hmm. And I get that, but sometimes it's just like you gotta make a call. Like to me, my Shaka is like press the nuke button, and it's really just like right, because I think for when you ran it for the Win with Ice team, it was like, to me it was like we were fighting Shaka's ultimate intentions, fighting Harrison Armory, fighting we were fighting literally everyone trying to get something done. And I thought that was way more interesting, that like even though Shaka is technically on our side, we just don't want him to do anything. We're like, just stay over there, like don't come over here.
Stay in your corner.
Stay in your corner.
Evil math god.
Like don't blow anything up, please.
Yeah.
Please,
I think I think there's a comment on one of on the video that Dragon Kid did for the field guide, and there was a comment, and I think I don't explicitly say it, but like one of the reasons that I make Shaka so draconic is, one, it's like it's partially historically accurate, partially, but also because like I know that some people who play TTRPGs are very prone to do very bad things. And like joke around about it and stuff, and I think Lancer sets up the system to like not do those bad things and make an objective wrong and right in many ways. But like despite that, sometimes people like really try to do like the wrong thing. And one of the comments was it was just so distasteful when I read it. It was explaining the relationship between Shaka and like the MP War Order is like, we'll go to the extents. Like we are the maximum extent. You all should make sure that we don't do we don't have to make the hard decision. And like that's what literally every plot hook sets up the Lancers to do, is make sure that Shaka and the MP War Order don't have to make the hard decision. But the guy or the person who sent the message was like, what are they talking about? Why their whole thing is to make sure the players don't do bad things. My group is we'll hold up signs in the blink stations like we'll do war crimes for money. And I was like, holy fuck, like you're a bad person. Like not a bad person, but like you're obviously like this is I'm glad I put something in here like that, because literally that's the type of thing that I don't want to happen. Like like people were just like, it was only one comment out of all the comments that are on there, but like it's just like I thought it was so distasteful, and it was just like kind of gross.
Yeah. Honestly, like, and that's like the edge humor, right? Like, man's maxed out his edgelord stat for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't have time for those people.
Yeah.
Even though they think it's funny, and like they probably aren't bad people. Like honestly.
Yeah,
like,
you're right. You're right.
I think maybe it comes just from like D&D. I think that's more of an easy
I think so too.
thing to fall into.
Yeah.
I think like the Lancer setting is kind of like you can. I mean, I guess you can do whatever you want in any setting in any game and whatever.
Yeah.
But the Lancer setting doesn't really feel like it lends itself more to
Yep.
the players are the ones doing the war crimes so much as in like other games. Yeah.
I think it's just because the war crimes players in D&D are done to like objectively evil things, right? It's like no one cares when you burn a goblin village, but there was goblin babies in there, definitely.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Well, Lancers they're just people. We are just living people. Like if you're gonna go into a battlefield and pull a trigger on somebody, you're ending someone's life. Or if you have that kind of violence in your game, right? It's like you're it's a bad time, right? There's like I think as fantastical and as wonderful Lancer is, there's like this grounded sense of like there's blood and mud and people's lives are destroyed anytime you show up somewhere.
Yeah, like, I think they did mention that specifically. I can't remember the exact quote, but they mentioned like it's just humans, it's just people who do the good and the bad things in the setting. So like there's more weight to I mean, like it's not as easy to just separate from as it is in like a tabletop RPG where it's like that's not a house full of goblins. It's a house it's not a house full of people. It's a house full of goblins. It's little small green dudes, so we can blow them up without conscience because they're all part of this evil race. But I guess that leads into a certain other discussion.
But D&D does set you up for that stuff though. Like I even myself when I first started playing D&D, like I was. Because the system's almost designed, like given the lore and like how like GMs usually run it, it's a very easy pathway and to start thinking like, oh, you're lesser, I can destroy you without repercussions or any kind of guilt. And I think it does set up players to have that mindset to like, oh, this is how TTRPGs are played. You can have very bad things, objectively bad things happen, and you can feel absolved from those things because that's how the system is designed.
Yeah. Right. Because like I think there's like something about like the horridness of Dungeons and Dragons where it's like you fight like 50 goblins and they're all nameless, but honestly like it's different in Lancer where like most times you're facing like your elite squad's going up against their elite squad and they all you could put all that flavor in. Like honestly that's why in a lot of my games, even though it's like maybe be like they're a little bit more grunt on my end, I still give them like names and I still give them like attitudes and like stuff like that just to more humanize them. I make sure the players feel bad. Yeah. I'm always like, it's like, no, you're the bad guys here. These people just showed up to work and you're just destroying them because you're so awesome. Right? Like these poor suckers just woke up this morning, had their coffee, talked some shit with their cohorts and was like, all right, another day of, I don't know, doing bad guy stuff, which is mostly just standing around till
just guarding this one facility until suddenly 3 randos in a building just invaded it.
Like, who are you people? What are you doing here?
But yeah, I don't know. That's why I like some of the more recent stuff with, I guess, D&D and Pathfinder especially. Like, it's easier to then see certain groups of evil as just this specific group of people, not like an inherently racial thing.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
That's certainly my preference. I feel like we got off topic. I don't know what we were talking about.
I don't know what we were talking about either. I forget.
But yeah, I think we were talking about what would Shaka do and how.
Oh yeah. That's what it was.
And I guess just communicating things to new players who, I mean, I like the idea that like, so this is someone's first interaction with Afrofuturism, someone's first interaction with an entire genre. I think that's an interesting position to be in. I don't particularly envy it.
Yeah. I was a little bit of a trepidation on my end. I'm a little like, oh, this is your first interaction with Afrofuturism. Maybe this shouldn't be.
Yeah, and it's like the pressure's on you to get it right? Because it's like, if they walk away with like a weird, like not a fully understanding, you feel like you let them down.
Yeah.
Because you want to champion it, right? Like all of a sudden you're kind of championing an idea, and then you're like, oh, I think it was funny. I watched the Try Guys on YouTube, and for a long time, Eugene Liang was like, you know, didn't really talk about him being like, you know, or his he's like homosexual, right? So then it's like, you know, all that stuff. But he was like, mostly it was like he didn't want to promote it because he didn't want to become a champion. He's like, oh man, all these people look up to me, right? Am I going to, you know, be that person for them, right? To be the hero for them, right? For their own journey, right? They're the examples. And it's like, you know, it's tough because you're right. You want to be good and you want to be the good person, but can you? You're just only human, right? Like, you make mistakes. What if people are going to be on you about it?
Totally.
I get it.
Totally. Yeah, I totally feel that.
Yeah, that when he was, I think he was doing an interview, and I was like, oh man, I totally get that. And but I'm glad he did it, and he's an awesome dude. I like him a lot.
I used to watch the Try Guys a lot too. Try Guys is a good like YouTube series. Was it YouTube?
Yeah,
it was YouTube, right?
My favorite. Yeah, they were with BuzzFeed before, but now they're doing their own thing.
Gotcha.
They're being pretty successful. But I like Eugene because he's like the only ethnic person.
Yeah.
it's like
and he's got good hair. He's
Eugene.
got good hair too. He's got really good hair.
Eugene is the hottest man. Every time I see him, I'm like, damn. I'm like, yo, I want all of his clothes. Like every time I see him, he has so much drip, and I'm like, no, I look so bad. How?
Yeah, his Lancer triggers are get fitted for the gala +6.
Yo, for real.
Oh man, maybe I should get into watching Try Guys.
You should. You watch a couple of. I mean, they have like a lot of episodes, so you should watch a couple of them.
I think
Honestly,
I've only ever watched it at Ramon's place. I remember watching that one where they were doing cakes and stuff. I think there was one before that, but I think it was at Ramon's place where I saw it.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like my wife's into the Try Guys a lot. We watch it a lot. But honestly, they cornered the market on being clowns on the internet.
They did.
Like actually, like that's all they do is just like, here's the situation. We don't know what we're doing, but we're gonna be idiots, and that's the episode every single time.
Yeah. It reminds me of It reminds me of the show. There was a show on Comedy Central. It was these three like white dudes who were older and like balding, and it was called I can't remember what it's called, but essentially it was Try Guys, just like for like cable TV. It was also funny, but like not as like Try Guys had like a we're not good at this kind of like we're good at this kind of vibe to it. This is definitely like the show on Comedy Central was like definitely curated for the certain audience.
True. Yeah.
So I guess a shout out to the little independent channel called Try Guys. You might not have heard of. All right, we are getting to about 30 minutes in, and I want to get to working on this one shot so I can absorb knowledge and work on my own one shot.
Yes, let's do it. Let's
get down to business.
Let's get down to business. Defeat.
That song has been in my head because this is in fact a training montage
and that man
for me.
is also hot. Why is that man so hot?
That dude's hot too.
Like, what the?
Not gonna lie.
Every time I think of Mulan, I was like, damn man, that man's hot. What the fuck?
Yeah, he had a very chiseled jaw. I'll give him that.
Seriously. Yeah.
Incredibly so. Was the live action Mulan any good?
No.
There's a live action Mulan.
Okay. I should have expected those answers.
I'm joking. It was like a 6 out of 10. Like it was good and it was kind of cool, but they just pull their punches, and I was like,
Yeah.
Damn it! Like it was almost cool.
You know, Calvin watches Cats Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, so you know what their taste is.
It's true. You might like it, Calvin.
I mean, maybe. All right. Before we get even more off topic with other Disney movies, let's. So the plan is to start off with some plot hooks and craft a, I guess, like what goes into making a Lancer one shot. How long should combat take? How many scenes should there be? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I don't know, Ramon. You start. I mean, I got the narrative stuff, but you give me like the technical like combat scenes, all that stuff.
Oh man, like I don't know shit. Like I'm kidding.
I almost choked.
But in all honesty, I don't think I do anything twice. Like everything is always different.
Nice.
But I think about like 4 combats would be pretty good. It kind of has like you have your cap end conclusion, like your epic boss battle for like your one shot, maybe like at the beginning. I don't know how long you're gonna do your one shot for, Calvin. If it's gonna be like 1 session, 2 sessions, up to you. I usually think of like a combat usually takes up like half of the session, so maybe 1 session of combat or one combat per session. I don't know if that's the feel you get, or like that's your experience, Shaka.
Well, when I ran for y'all, I feel like y'all gave me the feedback like every encounter felt like a boss encounter. So
That's true.
I think if we're gonna do one for right now, I would probably do like a very wallflower, under leveled kind of encounter for the first 2, and then make the last 2 like boss like encounters. I think it's pretty typical. Like in the 3rd encounter you have like a elite guard, and then the last encounter you probably have an ultra or some bullshit.
Yeah, right. The classic boss battle. You gotta beat up. You gotta like go through all the trash to get to the boss room. Right.
Yeah.
In standard games like Dungeons and Dragons, it's a little bit different because you can actually physically space them out on the map. So it's like you put the boss at the other end, right? Well, you put the trash at the beginning, and so the players have to work their way through it.
Totally.
But with Lancer, it's like you have to do it in cutscenes, right? So
yeah, why is that? Why is that?
I don't know, because the scale of mechs is like big. Like so.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
So even though you could put it on like a map and then have them go through that map, it'll just be like you're basically just cutting scenes anyway. So to me, it's like you want to do. I think like. I always like combat, so I'm like combat first, then scene, combat first, then scene, right? Like, and then kind of do that, right? And then, as far as enemies go, like you could usually just stick with like equal parts. Like, how many bad guys, how many players on the side is equal to how many bad guys you deploy?
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of following those rules where like a grunt counts as 4 would be pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, you could just max out on grunt assaults and just win.
I always like doing. I know you can't technically do grunt squads, but I always like doing size 1 grunt squads because I feel like they communicate the scale of mech combat really well, and like the frailty of being a human on a mech combat field. And it also like I've seen in other streams where people are like players are like, when they're up against like squads or whatever, or like just like humans or whatever, they're like, I don't know if I really want to shoot you because it's kind of like not great because I'm like definitely gonna like, obliterate you. Yeah.
It was like just like a few bullets are just done. Right?
Exactly. But I always thought that was like a good way to start it. How about we roll? One of y'all roll a d10, or just like name a random number in between 1 and 10, and then I'll read what that plot hook is, and then we can kind of go from there.
Let's go with 5 because it is the 5th that we're recording on. While I open up my dice box.
Nice. So 5 is the Second Distal War. So let me explain a little bit of the plot hooks I put in here. So all the plot hooks include or involve Mfecane going to this portion of adjacent space somewhere near the 4th Galactic Line called the Indel. And the Indel means wild in Zulu, and it means wild space in the setting. And it's space that is wrought with the inequities that Union has either left behind, or Harrison Armory or the other corporations are testing weapons and doing a whole bunch of bad stuff, hoping Union doesn't find out. Also, like old colonial charters that are sent off from Cradle way back when, just coming to fruition and doing a whole bunch of other bad things. And so Mfecane is going to the Indel to do a lot of good and save these people and stuff. But 5 is Second Distal War, and it means, I'm just gonna read the thing. Union's wars bring. Oh wait, Second Distal War. We should explain that. Ramon, you want to explain what the Second Distal War is?
I think
I'm trying to remember.
You know the
been
stuff.
so long.
You know stuff better. And it's a worth
The
it on.
Second Distal War.
It's worth it on.
Is that what the on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's like it's not the first contact. It's afterwards.
Yeah.
It's SecCom, right?
Yeah, I think I think
like,
it's the war that's going on or about to start or going on currently, sort of.
in the garden boundary. I think that's what it's called.
I think a boundary. Yeah, boundary garden. I think it is.
Boundary garden.
I always assumed the Second Distal War was like Union launched or SecCom or FirstCom, I can't remember which one, launched that kinetic kill weapon across the galaxy or whatever.
Oh yeah, so that was so they launched that right before the Deimos event, if I remember correctly.
Got you.
And yeah, so like I'm pretty sure that SecCom was almost about to. No, it's for the Karakin Baronies. Now I'm remembering now. So the Karakin Baronies. Oh, I'm mixing them up. Yeah, I think the kinetic kill weapon was shot at
the on for sure.
At the on, right? And the Deimos event happened right before the Karakin Baronies got destroyed. Like they're like SecCom was about to like blow the crap out of them, and then they left.
Yep.
Because Deimos event happened, and then they came back and actually took them over. But the Second Distal War, I think, would it be against the On? I thought the Onyx base was further out.
I thought it was against. I thought Union launching the weapon, like the kinetic kill weapon, started the Second Distal War, and it's just like it's kind of just like building up to like actual conflict happening with the On, but it's never like explicitly explained in the core book.
Yeah, the core book just for the Second Distal War says that an Onyx Crusade fleet, the presence was confirmed, and a blink gate was lost to hostile state actions. Unless there's another book that has more.
No, that's
the Second
it. Yeah,
Distal War.
Yeah,
like
that's it. So it's like it's going on right now. That's yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, because it started like 16 years before the present time in the game.
Got you. Okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I gotta reread all.
Yeah. Reread your shit.
I have the book open. I fell asleep listening to some lore videos.
Yeah.
I got 11 Dragon Kids voice in my head. I've been trying to immerse into the game and then into the lore.
No, you got it.
Yeah, that guy helps out a lot. I appreciate
that guy's
stuff.
So much.
Just the context of just like short bits of information helps me cram it into my small brain.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's so weird trying to like recall history that isn't real. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it really is. That's been like totally off topic, but that's one of my struggles with dealing with like canon settings for different games. Because I'm trying to learn like the Starfinder setting, I'm trying to learn like the Mutants and Mastermind setting.
Yeah.
And now this one, I barely know the official Pathfinder setting because I can't squeeze it in there. I know my setting, and that's all I need.
Yeah, you only have so much download capacity.
That's why I just make shit up all the time because it's hard to remember.
Like I can remember things I said. I can't remember something I read in a page in a book years ago.
Yep.
All right, so we're in it. The Second Distal War is happening. I guess the On are on the offensive.
Yeah.
Tired of Union shit.
So this one is So let me read it. So Union's war brings with it complications that seem to be drawn to reap the bounty of the Endol. Whether it's a secret weapons facility of Harrison Army or a post-humanism venture of Smith's Model Corporation or the Karakin Trade Barons' prisoner of war penal colony, the Second Distal War brings Union's allies to the Endol to devise and test unsanctioned war toys far from Third Com's criticism. Yet they forget Mfecane will see their allies in Union know that the Endol is on a path of serenity. And so Mfecane will defend its peace by sending you join the Mhamlanga, which is a portion of the chest order that is like the stewards of Shaka, and the Amthitho, which is like Mfecane's little senate and republic, blah, 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 as you quest to hold the corporations accountable for their negligent actions, which always seem to leave broken homes in their wake. So this one sets up Mfecane as almost like checkers of Union's allies who are probably developing weapons for the war, which can be seen as good or bad, but like they're developing them unscrutably, and they're probably leaving
people hurt in the process. So maybe like, Harrison Armory is testing like a genetic kill weapon or something on a planet, or I don't know, something like that. So that's kind of where that plot hook goes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome, because like I think it ties in a lot of the core aspects, a lot of the bad aspects of those, tried and true corporal states, right, that we're all familiar with the cool guns and mechs and stuff, and realize, wait, you have to test these things.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They don't just come out
Exactly.
of nowhere and just they know it works, right? They had to use it on the peoples. So this is where the peoples are. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like, like America does this shit when they tested like the nuclear bombs. Like, I mean, they tested it in like the desert and stuff, but like I'm sure like some bad things happened. I'm sure if I looked hard enough, I could find some bad stories of like weapons being tested on people and stuff.
Oh yeah, that happened. There was like an island in like the Pacific Ocean where they were doing some tests, but there was like a native population that was just on an island. They got mad irradiated because someone didn't check their math, and the radius got all like that. They just didn't. And like I know there was like a Japanese fishing boat that got caught up in that blast, and those poor people. I think some of them survived, but like. That kind of stuff, right? That's how weapons work, because they have to actually use them.
So this is that making sure that Mfecane or the Lancers, who are either Mfecane or not, are deployed to prevent those things from happening.
So they're heading out there, some corporation, maybe Harrison or SSC. I guess we'll say they're testing a weapon, and it's causing harm to something out in the Endel, or some group of people.
Let's say Harrison Armory is always the one we pick on the most, I feel like. So let's pick on Harrison Armory.
Yeah, I was gonna say SSC, but that's just
we can do let's
that's left over from the one shot, really.
Oh yeah, we could do either one. I mean, I haven't done too much of the Kraken trade variants. We could also do them, but I feel like they don't test weapons so much. I feel like they just they probably test like, I don't know, something monetary.
Are bad. They're just hard.
Yeah. I don't really know what they would do, honestly.
I think they're just right for exploitation. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
Their whole thing is like exploiting people out of the stuff that they have, and then being like, look how cool we are. Right?
This is ours now. I was kind of thinking, like, if it was one of the corporations, if they're testing a weapon that they intend to sell to Union later, I don't know. I mean, I guess this depends on how Union works, which is something I need to read more into. But I think it might be an interesting conflict for a one-shot for Union or whoever is asking the Lancers to handle this, to be like, hey, if they have a really cool thing, bring it back around, but kind of maybe stop them from using it. But, if it's there, like, I just like the idea that, like, the players might have a choice to collect whatever weapon or tool or device this is. But it's already obviously caused significant harm to an innocent population. Should it still be allowed to exist? To that kind of question.
I like the idea of like half the party being like representatives of Union, and then half the party being like probably representatives of like Mfecane, where Mfecane are like, go there, destroy the weapon, and abolish these people, and then Union's like, we can still kind of use it, just stop the bad things from happening.
Right. So yeah, definitely. In my headcanon, Thirdcom is always trying to do better. Like actually, they want to do good. So they're typically the good guys. It's just that like they just inherited this fucking mess, and they're like, fuck. How are we gonna convince all these corporate states who are, actually older than us to listen to us? Right?
Yeah.
And even just like the whole, I believe in like their Union Senate, it's like there's a big movement around these corporations that's slowly eroding, the center of like their Senate, and pushing more towards like the corporate state bullshit that we don't want to happen. So I love that idea. I love the idea of working with like maybe it's like it's like a joint venture, so it's like it's like the Mfecane working with a union based organization like I don't know.
I don't know him that well.
Or even could be.
Yeah, I don't know that organizations that well.
The good guys.
Would it be a UIB thing? Or
Investigation Bureau? Yeah. Ooh.
It could be the UIB.
Calvin, how do you know this stuff more than me and Ramon?
Yes, the UIB. The UIB is the MIB essentially.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, they're the secret undercover deep ops for the Union, where not even Union knows what they're up to, but they're always reporting on random paracausal nonsense, and it's like always on the lookout for aliens and shit too, that kind of stuff. They're
Yeah, like I can see them being like, we want to reacquire this thing to use on our end, like as a pragmatic sort of thing, not necessarily as we just want to have the biggest gun kind of thing. It's like the gun's already there. We might as well take it.
I've always, I don't know why this has been recurring to me over the course of like 2 or 3 weeks or something, maybe longer, but I've always wanted to run a session with SSC creating like a Dragon Ball Z character and blending an NHP with like a human.
Ooh.
And like making like Frieza or some shit.
Yeah.
Like I always just wanted that to happen. I was like, would it be so cool if like the players in their necks are going against this like fucking like Frieza and like form like his final form or some shit.
Like this one human-sized person, but like it's, I don't know, Ultra or whatever.
Yeah.
Tier 3 human.
I could see that happening. On like maybe like SSC like did some stuff on a planet, or like maybe the whole planet is dedicated to getting the right sequence of genes over the course of like 10 years to produce this thing that can be a vessel for an NHP or something.
Oh, you know what? Maybe that works better, because then it's like they don't want you to, like, Union doesn't want you to recover like a specific piece of technology. They want you to recover these people who have been through, I don't know, whatever SSC might have done to them, or their like whole genetic line.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and then you could have what's the SACs? I think it's Constellar Security. Like,
the Midnights, the Constellar Midnights.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to deploy them right away. That could be like your final boss kind of deal, where like these people are like, the SSC is like, well, we have all the data. I guess we'll just kill all the people now. You know what I mean? Like them baddies, like they are, right? Like,
yeah.
Or like maybe they're just gonna, that like Union figures this out.
Yeah.
And it's like definitely a no, right? It's like
yeah.
It's like if Daddy finds out, we're all gonna get stomped, right?
Totally. Yeah,
right?
I usually lean towards like political stuff. So like maybe if Union finds out, like like Third Com, the administrators find out, then like maybe the SSC loses some access to worlds or something like that they were really looking to get, or something, or some type of like trade off or something.
Right, like maybe they revoke some colonial rights, right, like onto some world. So it's something that's like really dry and boardroomy that like they're worried about. Right, while these poor people are like, they're to be like turned into mulch essentially, right? For the for the stuff for science, and it's like, damn it, our profit margins are down.
Exactly.
Damn it.
Very Outer Worlds.
That's like all I think about when I think about like North Star. It's just like
IPS North,
yeah, just dudes in boardrooms being like, damn it, we're down 5 points.
While like half a planet's exploding.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Okay, so the PCs then are tasked with heading out into the vast, into the Ondel, because there is an SSC company or splinter group who is doing something to a group of people on a planet that like generates some sort of, I don't know, psychic power within them, and you're being sent to shut that down, but Union still wants those people.
It's like you could call it like a secret constellar world, right? Like something around that.
Yeah. Give it some myth.
Yeah, off the books kind of thing, right? So
off the books, constellar system. I'm trying to take notes, but I'm not doing a good job.
Don't worry, I never take notes.
We can tell.
That was a good burn.
No, that sounds good. It sounds good. Like a off the books Constellar world. And then so maybe the players are posited to have two objectives. One, they can probably do what Union says, and maybe there's rumors of like something else that SSC is doing. There's probably like a ruse that they're doing. Like there's probably like a ruse that like, oh yeah, we're just experimenting on these people to supplement some other
like a medical thing or something.
Yeah. Maybe to tie it all back to each other is that the rumor, the high level thing is that they're experimenting on this world with the people on this world, so they can export them to the system or the several planets that they are like, are afraid that they might lose or whatever if Union finds out. And that's like, I don't know if I can explain that well, but that's like the tie-in and stuff. So like the rumors that they're using these people to go to this other world and do some mining or some shit, I don't know. But what really happening is that they're using these people to create Frieza.
I kind of like the idea that they did go for that one thing maybe at first, but then after a while they were like, hey, we can do a Frieza here.
Yeah, maybe something bad happened or something good happened. I don't know. They had a breakthrough and they're like, oh fuck, we should really dig into this.
Yeah.
Right. So then, you could have like if your players are maybe from the Impy Warrior kind of doing their good old Impy Warrior stuff and crusading around the place doing the good guy shit. You could have like the players like get contacted by like a UBI agent, right, or team or something, being like, hey, do you want to do some good, kid? Like,
nice,
right?
Yeah.
And they could be like a contact that basically gives you the mission, right? It's like, listen, we're gonna do this, and maybe the thing is, it's like it's a side-by-side thing. So like as you're progressing through the one shot, the UBI smaller team is progressing through the one shot as well. Right.
Ooh,
but,
yeah.
They're working side by side, right? So maybe you're more of like, depending on, the way you preface it to your players, it could be like, you're going in strong, right? You're just going to crash in and make a bunch of noise, while the UBI team will be like sneaking around, or maybe like, if they're going to go in silently, or you're going to go in silently, maybe they're, basically just letting you carve the path for them, right?
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah, and that's the way you can, navigate like the interactions between like, the basically who you're getting your mission, like your direction from, and like what's actually happening on the ground, right?
Yeah, that reminds me of how Wallflower did the CRT, even though the CRT is like, I think supposed to be kind of bad, but I liked how they set them up and stuff. It's like, the interactions between two teams, because I like the RP potential in that.
Yeah. I remember there was a lot of arguing. The GM ran Wallflower for us most of the way through, and then the book actually came out. So, which is still good. It was awesome. We still had lots of fun. So but it was a lot of like he added his own stuff into it. But the CRT team was always kind of cool, because I felt bad when those guys got murdered because bullets flying, right? And I was like, damn, I feel bad, but I'm so glad I don't have to argue with you anymore. Like, I got shit to do.
They in my campaign, like, they just felt like they're still going right now, but they felt like they made everything harder for the team, because they took their privileges and they're just like, oh yeah, we're actually here to do right? Yeah. Like, we have control over everything. But I think that could be something exported into this like temporary or like, brainstorming one shot too.
Yeah. So, obviously it's cool, because then you could have like a small cast of like maybe three people, like, depending good. On like three NPCs who are like, one's the dude person in charge, the other one's like running comms or something like that, or doing something technical, and the other one's like the angry one.
There we go. Always the angry one.
The angry one, right? He's like, I don't think they're that cool. I think they're up to the stuff. The other one's like, no, let's give him a shot. Yeah, right.
Yeah, let's just put in Sabretooth from X-Men.
Yeah, yeah, right. The angry one. It's like, these guys look like they suck.
Yeah.
So you have somebody to root for, somebody's rooting for you, and somebody who you're trying to prove that you're cool to, right? So
yeah,
you have the whole range. Right?
Ooh, I can see that.
So yeah, I think I'm always a big fan of like just open up a battle mat, being like, all right, you're coming in, like these dudes are gonna fight you now.
Ooh. Yeah, what would be that first battle? Because so say if the players land on the planet and then they're paving the way for the UIB investigation team, like what would be that first battle? Like would the SSC just like be like, nah, bro, or it would be a bunch of drones? It'd probably be a bunch of drones, like RPGs.
Probably be a bunch of drones.
Yeah, we could also have like throw a grunt squad in there just to.
Oh yeah, a grunt squad.
Yeah, it could be like all of it could be just automated defenses. I think it'd be cool if maybe obviously the NHP who's running the show, because you just have a big facility, you plug that shit in and it just works. Right? So I think it would be cool if the first response is all automated.
Yeah.
So then it's like
yeah.
I
feel that.
Afterwards it's like you're making your way through, like maybe like the interlude of that would be like you're exploring after you've gotten through all that kind of stuff and you find out what's kind of going on, like maybe during the way there, right? Maybe the first session is like literally like flying. I don't know how the planet would be, like you touch down and then you immediately hit conflict, and then you're making your way through, hit another wall.
Yeah.
And then once you're actually inside the facility and knowing what's going on, between that moment you could have like your systems pick up like I forget what it's called, but it's like just like a space jump, like something just changed.
Oh, like
changed
a subspace
trajectory. Yeah, it just changed the trajectory out of like nowhere and is like now rocketing towards your position, right? It's like they're like SSC security sleeper cells somewhere, right? Just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
On like, and then all of a sudden just boom, they're here and they're like, we have to stop you guys, and then that's like the next thing.
Ooh.
And then they would be you fight Frieza.
Yeah.
Right?
You fight Frieza.
You just fight Frieza.
I just have that GIF in my mind where he blew up Planet Vegeta, and he was like, wow, ooh, and he was like, fireworks are like kind of like flashing in front of his faces, and so he was like being very like extravagant in his emotions and stuff. I just have that GIF in my head.
Planet Vegeta.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm on a Dragon Ball Z kick right now.
I mean, it's working so far.
No, I like. Go ahead, Calvin.
Oh no, I was just trying to like summarize. So like they run into like your drones, your automated security. And I guess as they're moving forward, if we're splitting the players into two squads, it sounds like.
I think there's like a narrative like UIB squad, and there's like it's
a narrative thing. Okay,
yeah,
I see.
Yeah, is that what you were thinking, Ramon?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
It would be a narrative UIB squad who's like, oh man, we're pinned down. Can you assist us, right? Or like give us some time while we hack the mainframe.
Ooh, yeah.
Always a mainframe.
Right, so it gives precedent to be like, all right, this is a defensive mission, or this is an aggressive mission, or you have to control these points. It leads into like the actual tactic game play, right? So, somebody else, the cracker on the team needs time to do a thing, so now you have to hold off the bad guys.
Yeah, I like that.
Scenario.
I know.
At some point, SSC drops the boss on you.
Yeah, exactly.
The mini boss.
Yeah. What's a mini boss? That's a good. Maybe like the failed experiments at creating Frieza, or something like that.
Oh yeah, you just let them loose. the head, like NHP is like, fuck, just send the monsters at them.
I could see the Frieza character having more of like the disposition of like Mewtwo, just like being like, I'm really superior. And if I have like dead sisters and brothers that like didn't amount to me, go prove yourself, and we'll see how good like you do or whatever. I can see this being this very superior orchestrator. Like, I am above everyone. I am the pinnacle of creation.
Oh, they've been the one running the whole thing this entire time.
Well, they probably I would imagine they probably would have probably killed some of the SSC people, like, you know, bad experiment gone wrong type thing, and they just become like the pinnacle of creation, and they just want to prove themselves.
Yeah, they could be released because, you know, they're trying to because, you know, we're coming now, right? So it's like it doesn't have to be like all in one day or one go, right? It could be like maybe some sort of like escalating thing, maybe over the course of like a week or something like that, right? Where, like, you're fighting your way through, and you have a bunch of cutscenes of you doing something, whatever it could be, and then, you know, it's really just you pull out the tactical map for the really important shit, right? But it could be like, you know, the mad scientist person is like, oh no, they're gonna find out, and then we're gonna blend everybody, right? It's like the idea is we're just gonna destroy everything, and then the creation's like, lol, I'm too good for you. I'll be blending you. and then now you're
well,
like,
you know, we gotta throw in some Frieza quotes. I mean, like, we literally have to I don't know any Frieza quotes, but like, oh, maybe I know Frieza likes to call motherfuckers monkeys all the time. You dirty monkey.
Yeah, it could be because, you know, actually this thing isn't human. Like,
yeah, I mean, I could totally imagine it not being a human. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, that perspective of like, I'm half math god really kind of messes up a person, you know, changes their priorities. Yeah. So yeah, you could do that. You could have like a thing where you're fighting the concert securities or the midnight show up, and it was like, you know, now you're fighting, like, instead of it being like robot grunts, it's a hard shift to, like, you know, elites. Like, you just maybe like, for me it's like if you're fighting midnight, it's like they're all just elites, like, actually.
Yeah, like if we're having 3 combats in this one shot, then I'm thinking like 1, the outer security with like automated stuff and drones and whatever, then maybe a bit of a narrative thing as we move ahead, and then 2, it's like, okay, SSC knows you're here, they're gonna drop their security on you, and it's gonna be these these elite guys, and then the 3rd one being like your final encounter with this whatever we call them, Frieza 2.
Mew Frieza. Sounds good. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, so I mean that's basically like the gambit, right? So like you kind of like show the combat range of Lancer. Lancer's like, fight a bunch of dudes, fight a couple of elite dudes, fight one really strong dude. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And you know, I'm always under the impression that SSCs always have the fastest mechs, so whatever the fastest hard-hitting the longest range, you know, get a sniper dude, get a dude who can turn invisible, maybe a dude who can fly, an ace, you know, get that ace and just have them run around just styling on your players. If your players can't, you know, keep up, then they're gonna get wrecked. That kind of deal.
That's a good point, because combat's so big about Lancer. But like, to me, the second combat sounds the most interesting with the SSC Constellar team. Because I don't know how to do boss encounters, so I'm just gonna focus on that one. But they're too hard. They either die too quickly or they're just way too difficult. But yeah, I always, whenever I do SSC, I always put in a fucking Hornet. Like, Hornets are just like,
oh yeah,
they're like the epitome of SSC.
They are. They're so fast and so annoying and so goddamn awful.
I know. They're glorious. And then people sometimes just don't invade them, which is just like, why? Just invade it. Please, just invade it.
They're really bad at it, trust me. Yeah, so you can do that. So, you know, the first combat is really just kind of like a little bit, you know, very low stakes, right?
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to, there's a bunch of them, but they're not coordinating properly, right? So you don't actually need like a good strategy. They're just like, their thing is like, don't let them get closer. Right? They're just automated defenses.
Yeah,
you could have like turrets, you could have random grunt assault dudes who just walk up and just shoot. You could have like, you know, maybe like a hacker drone or something like that. You can really just kind of put whatever you want in there and like show, like, especially if it's rerunning for new players, I think it's good to show the different NMP types. So maybe like have one of each, but don't work too hard on it. Just like, you know, let the players stomp them, right? Let them figure it out.
I agree with that.
Right. The next fight. Oh, go ahead.
What about like have you ever run like an airdrop combat where it's just like a standard combat, but you're falling, you know, you're gonna fall to the ground by round 6, and then you have like these like reverse thrusters or some shit that like will stop you from crashing to the ground or whatever?
That's interesting.
Sick. That's so cool. I like that idea a lot.
So then is your movement based on if your mech has some sort of flight capability, or?
Well, I guess I would imagine like whoever's deploying you, like whether it's Mfecane or whatever, they would just like put like flight systems on your mech or whatever
like a separate,
to allow you to navigate. Yeah, I mean, maybe you could just like say it's like the EVA or some flight system, just like give the players like that additional, and maybe not let it get destroyed, because if it gets destroyed, they're probably gonna die.
You could have like a re-entry platform too, right?
Yeah.
You could have like just like fill like the box full of like a sky, like just like a regular sky, and then actually put like platforms where if your mech is standing here on the 6th round, you won't die, right?
Ooh, that'd be dope. You could just do like a holdout. You could just do holdout in that circumstance, and just
it could be a holdout. That'd be dope. And then you just like, okay, listen, this is a re-entry platform. If any, you know, if there's a bad guy here, you're not re-entering.
So is that the first combat then? You're dropped in on this thing, and then you're attacked by like maybe still drones and stuff, but you're like also falling while you're doing it.
Yeah, a bunch of drones of the basic enemies, like Ramon said, like, you know, assault, maybe, I don't know, some other ones.
Yeah, you could do that. I think it'd be cool. I mean, you could just have like planes show up. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, we
don't always have to have arms and legs. Like,
we don't want to front load the whole one shot.
Throw every enemy in the book, all 32 enemies. Throw in. I don't know how many
we can't make the first one too cool, because then the other ones won't be cool.
No, but they're cool in a different way, right? It's like, okay, so my thing is like, you know, combat, like, we're all used to sword and sorcery, just dudes on a map shooting or slapping people, right? Regular mech combat in Lancer is pretty much that, right? It's just different flavors of shit.
Yep.
But only in the sci-fi setting you could have like a re-entry platform scenario where you're trying to like literally, you know, invade a planet from space.
Yeah.
Like, in your mechs, right? Like, so that kind of thing gets me excited, right? So I don't know, do it, Calvin.
Sure.
Yeah, do it, Calvin. Figure out a way to do it. Maybe I don't know how you would do it, but do it.
I mean, I will, when I'm editing this, make notes on things that we talk about and things that I might want to put into whatever I work on. I don't know if it'll be this exact thing, but this is a very good idea. So.
Are there hot air balloons in the setting you're running?
I sure don't know yet, because I don't have anything yet, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
I've been like trying to come up with an idea, and I was like, I want it to be really cool right off the bat, and I don't know. I keep second guessing all my ideas. This is why I want to absorb ideas from other people.
Got you.
This Lancer Month Part 2, The Reckoning, is basically like, it's basically the first Space Jam movie.
Nice. Not the remake, the first one from the 90s, right?
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I think it's gonna be perfect then. You're good. You're golden.
So, joint operation between Union and the Mfecane to deal with this SSC operation that has been affecting people on this planet out in the vasts, where you're being sent in to shut down this experiment. There's a UIB group that's stealthing behind you, but they need you to clear the way. First step is you get dropped in, you get hit by some defenses, then after you land, SSC drops in their own dudes, whom you then fight, many of them being elite or things like that. And then at the end, you're facing their escaped experiment.
Yes, the experiment. Who needs a name? Name them, Calvin. Name them, for real. Give them a name.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna keep saying while I open up the fantasy name generator.
You know, I always like the idea of like maybe it being like on a gas giant, and it's like on like a floating.
I like that.
You know, facility.
Yeah.
So it's like, the way that they would dispose of the evidence would just be sinking it into the gas tank because no one's gonna find it.
That's good. I have never run Lancer like one shot or a setting or on a place that doesn't have breathable air, which is like that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, because and then there's like always the idea of like like you could just fall.
Yeah, you can just fall.
Like, what if you just fall off?
Fall forever.
Just be crushed under the weight of physics,
Oh my God.
man.
I feel like that'd be such a cool thing to tell the players as they start their encounters that this is like a massive fucking like probably like 3 times the size of Jupiter, and you will literally fall for at least an hour before you're eventually crushed by the pressure.
Yeah, like you have time to think about your decisions. And all your regrets that come to peace with your life before you die.
That would make for a good like encounter map, like
It would.
just where you can stand and things like that.
Yeah, I feel like dropping
Yeah.
the person. Well, go ahead, Calvin.
Oh, I was just gonna suggest Chimera as a name.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a very simple,
Yeah.
one-word name, very obvious meaning, very straightforward. I couldn't think of anything.
Chimera in all caps.
Yeah, it could be the
Yeah.
the Chimera.
It's probably an acronym, but it'll never be explained what it is.
Nice.
just put the dots and then don't say it.
They thought of the
What does it
name
mean?
before they thought of it.
No, I think it's good. I think perfect.
What does it mean? It's just redacted. Don't even-
Well, to go into a
yeah.
typical Lancer encounters, Chimera's probably gonna die by encounter 2 or round 2, so it doesn't really matter.
But that's only his first.
Yeah, exactly.
Just be like copy paste.
Obviously,
Like,
it would have
Yeah,
multiple forms.
give him feign death and then add some other bullshit on top of that.
yeah. Yeah, it's like, haha, this is just my first HP bar.
That's really good. I really like that one. So
Yeah,
you fight a multi-phase boss fight. If you have time for this in a one shot, I don't know how long.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. I think one shots in Lancer are actually like multiple sessions. Like an actual one shot in Lancer would just be like narrative and combat, which is like it's fine. But I think one shots are to really get something done in Lancer to like play it how it's supposed to be played. You need to like have multiple sessions.
Yeah, it's like one mission is a one shot, right? It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You gotta
Yeah.
do get to the conclusion.
Yep.
But yeah, no. Yeah, so the second fight I think would be the test of the players. Like, do the players actually understand the synergy in their team?
Ooh,
And then
yeah.
that kind of thing, right? Where like they're gonna have to try a little harder, right? Like the first one is just kind of like, hold out, but really the enemies aren't gonna do that much, and you're not. There's the idea of like moving and spacing isn't gonna be that big of an issue because literally you can't because you're falling.
Yeah.
But now you introduce terrain, tactics, that kind of stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
That'll test the players' like understanding of like what they're doing and still like a priority targets. And then the last one would be like, all right, no holds bar. Like you better do this or else this thing's gonna murder everyone here.
Yeah,
Knock
that's
down
when the
that
floor
guy,
drops
yeah.
out from under you.
Right. Yeah. Right. So it's like it's either it's leaving here and you're not, or that kind of thing. Right. It's like
Yeah.
You could also have, and then at the end of it, it could be like either you're like even before that final fight, it could just be like the UBI want to capture it, or maybe they want
Ooh.
to get the data or
Yeah.
something like that, right? It's either get the data and do all that kind of stuff, which will make the fight harder, or we're gonna sink the whole ship and get everybody out. It's like technically it would be the same thing because like regardless, it's like you have to defeat the enemy because that's ultimately what the goal is. But
Yeah.
the narrative sense is like, are you trying to save all of the research people, right? All of the people, all of the test subjects, all those human bodies, or you want to get the data and the information, or do you want to just sink the whole thing? Like, it's like
Yeah, I feel like with the whole like the Black Hook, the second distal war, I feel like Union, even though they're like doing the best thing, I feel like if they thought they could get out and get the Chimera out with like even if it's defeated and like salvage his research and get the civilians out, they would probably do that. But Mfecane would just be like, nah, all this needs to be obliterated. Like it's just really bad. It all needs to be obliterated. So I feel like there could be like a tension between the two. Like the UBI team is like, yo, we gonna take this back to the house, and then Mfecane is like, nah, bruh, we're gonna squash this whole thing.
Yeah, that's definitely what I would want for like the finale of this one shot, like that conflict between the two players and how that turns out.
That brings back the whole message of like, humans doing human things, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What's the right call in the heat of the moment kind of deal.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like
yeah.
Okay, so I think we have our one shot. I don't think we need to fully stat it. I think we came up with enough that it can be processed. Enough, but so I will take what I've learned there and hopefully apply it in the future when I finally run a Lancer game.
At the end of this month, Calvin's is going to have literally a chimera of one-shot material. It's going to be like that motherfucker in Full Metal Alchemist, the homunculi, just be gruesome looking.
Yeah, Kyle's gonna try to do everything all at once.
Probably.
And just be like,
here is every single thing.
I don't care. I'm playing it.
That sounds dope. I want to.
If I run it on the channel, then I'm sure everybody who's watching will be sure to see it. We are coming up on an hour 20, so we should probably start landing the plane.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was really fun. I really like what we came up with here, and I like how it can introduce a conflict with the players and give people RP moments to sort that out. So if you, the listeners out there, are interested in hearing about more Lancer stuff, we've got more guests coming up this month, a lot more people to talk to. If you're interested in like all the third-party stuff that's come out for Lancer so far, we've got a bunch of people we're talking to that's going to be really exciting. I'm just going to keep posting about them. I think every like Monday or so I'll just make a post about like who we're talking to, link to their socials and everything, just so you know what's going on. But other than that, if you want to stick around to, also see some gaming streams, which I'm trying to start back this week, starting a bit slow after taking a break. I think I dived in a bit too deep with 3 streams a week, but we'll figure out scheduling things because I want to continue.
Just continue the Mass Effect stream. Continue the Mass. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
I also, it's just good. Your commentary is good. So.
That's the thing. Like, I love these games. I don't want to keep playing them. It's just a matter of like, oh yeah, real life.
Yeah, totally.
I need a better 3-hour chunk to take away from. But yeah, those things will continue. So if you want to hear more of those, just hit the subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you get a notification every time something new goes up on the channel. That's the best way to know when we're live or when new podcasts are out. And of course, we got to give our shout outs. And first up, obviously, Field Guide to Mfecane. We have a link to the Itch.io page below. You can head over there. You can get the PDF of the Field Guide. You can get Kaltur's Golden Eye. You can get the LCP file so you can load it up in your CompCon and get all that great stuff so you can introduce this new Afrofuturistic setting into your Lancer games.
Yeah, updates coming end of February, hopefully, maybe. We'll see.
So keep an eye out for those. Pick it up. You can get those updates when they pop up at the end of February. Also, Celeste's Lancer RPG NPC guides, which you can, which is something that I need to get back into, start rereading those. They're very helpful to explain how to use different Lancer RPG templates for NPCs and ways to make them like synergize together, as well as adventures that focus on specific templates. So if you're into Hornets, go check that out. This list is going to be very long by the end of the month. We got to figure out a way to deal with that. It's going to be like
just drop me. I'm not. You guys have mentioned me a million times.
Nah, it's fine. Also, check out the Replay podcast, which is
very so good.
Yeah, it's a very good podcast about tabletop RPGs and video, like gaming in general, and diverse voices in that space. So definitely go check that out. Also, I do want to give a shout out to the Untold Stories project, where I am every Monday playing Mutants and Masterminds. Had a pretty fun encounter last stream where we were dealing with the body swap thing and a magic thing, and most of us are back in our original bodies. I don't want to say too much.
Nice.
And then there was some very good jokes from chat, because there was a character from the canon setting by the name of, I thought his name was Kick Kid, like a Karate Kid sort of parody, but apparently it's just Kid with a hyphen. And then chat was making jokes about Man. So, who I guess is like his dad or something? I don't know.
Man?
It was very silly and very funny, so definitely go check them out.
I love how Dollar General Kit Kit is like the name, like Kit Kit. It's just so like basic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My character, the badass normal archer guy, is like looking at this kid and like, I could use a new sidekick.
Nice.
Here, take this bow and hat.
At least add a drop in front of there. Drop Kid. Now he's like badass.
Drop Kid. It's Kid. The power of a kid. in the form of a kid. It's like...
So yeah, if you want to see us deal with those guys, and we're going to be fighting a vampire and a necromancer next week, so... well, actually, by the time this comes out, we'll already have done that, so for a live, go check out that episode. And they have something coming up that I do not remember if they officially announced, so I don't want to spoil it, but you should have heard of it by the time this is out. So yeah, go check out that channel. I love those guys, so I gotta make a shout out to them. And I think that is everything to cover in this episode. It's gonna be a bit of a long one, but usually the Lancer ones are, and they're very exciting to do.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Shaka. I really appreciate you coming on, and it's always a blast to talk to you and get your perspective on stuff. I think everything you're doing is awesome. So yeah.
No doubt, man. Y'all got some good shit. I'm tuning more and more to all y'all stuff. I am a avid listener, and when that bell, honestly, when on the Wednesdays, like I feel like over the break you guys missed a Wednesday or something like that. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with them? Don't they know how much they're doing podcasts? Like I'm trying to watch it. I like raged. I woke up in the morning and I was waiting. It was like, cause you guys come out at like 12, and I raged. I was like, where's the damn podcast? I want to watch it. But yeah, for real though, yeah, I like y'all stuff though.
Well, hopefully we don't do that for the next little while, because we got a lot of stuff coming up now. So I appreciate the enthusiasm. I don't know. Is there anything else we got to say before we sign off?
Nah, man, I think that's it for me.
Yeah, give him the good old what, Calvin.
Well, everybody out there who's listening, just remember to keep on winning with dice, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.